Welcome to Board Gems. In this video I'll be comparing two editions of a Reiner Knizia game that has had many editions. So this is obviously not a thorough comparison, but I'm comparing one of the more common editions with a recent re-release. I'm comparing Fantasy Flight's Colossal Arena, which originally came out in 2004, although this thin box Silverline edition came out 2007, I believe, and Plan B's Equinox. Now, Equinox has two regular editions, both with fantastical art, and also this Golem edition, which also has fantastical art. So 3 editions total. Anyway, the Golem edition is the edition I have. It does differ slightly from the main editions. You can see, of course, that Equinox is much bigger. This is a Carcassonne size box. Colossal Arena is a standard size for Fantasy Flight Silverline at the time, which is very small and very narrow. The back of Colossal Arena shows a gameplay state, so it's kind of zoomed out to show the entire play area, along with some flavor text. Equinox also has flavor text. Instead it has zoomed in components, and I think this is pretty common nowadays. They like to show like a step by step to make it look really simple, like, oh, it's just 1, 2, 3. Simple as do, re, mi. Do this, then do that, then score. Get points and be happy. Colossal Arena is tiny. It has smaller cards, as you can see. Of course, in Equinox, the cards are bigger. Insert has 3 wells. That central well is also card sized. I just use it to put the little bags in because there are spaces on the left for the betting gems. And the gems inside the bags don't really fit in those spaces, so I do it this way. Note that in normal Equinox, instead of gems, they come with what look like plastic stones. At least they look like smoothed pebbles. Come with little bags. I'm not sure why. Colossal Arena has these little discs. You may recognize these from the version of Citadels they did, which used the same yellow ones. It's the same type of tokens in this version. I tried as best I could to match up the races in Colossal Arena with the Golems in Equinox Golem Edition. If you've watched my Ethnos Archaeos Society comparison, it's the same situation here, where the older version had text, fairly clear what it did. The new edition uses Euroglyphs, language-independent icons to try to describe the same thing. Very hard to learn from the icons, but if you learned the game anyway by reading the rules or being taught, then these serve as a pretty good reminder of how they work. It might just be me, but I had a hard time kind of mentally mapping the Golem artwork with particular powers. Sometimes it made sense, sometimes it didn't. The races were a little bit clearer that way in Colossal Arena, but not always. I'm not sure about the standard edition of Equinox. Certainly with the sort of fairy tale forest creatures, I think there was more variety than the Golems, so maybe that helps. But you'll see, for example, the Etin, the two-headed monster in Colossal Arena. The matching Golem also has 2 heads, so that's something. The original edition had 12 races. The new edition has 14. Here are the 2 new Golems / races. Am I going to explain to you what they do? No. You have the icons. Figure it out yourself if you can. So these are new to Equinox. What Equinox doesn't have that Colossal Arena has is player aids. But the game is pretty simple. It doesn't really need them. The back of Equinox's rulebook has an aid explaining what all the powers do. Very necessary, considering it is hard to learn what they do from just reading the icons. Maybe it's just me, but I found it hard to look up in this list what a particular Golem did. Obviously the artwork is there, and some of the artwork stands out very clearly, like the Fire Golem, for example, but a lot of them look really similar, and I couldn't figure out at first what order these were listed in. But then, when I compared it to Colossal Arena, I realized that it's the same order as in the Colossal Arena rulebook. And the Colossal Arena rulebook has it ordered alphabetically based on the race name. So it goes from Amazon to Worm. And it's the exact same order in Equinox, but with different names. So it's no longer alphabetical order. Not sure why they did that. Two different approaches. These are the referees, if you will. And the two different cards have the same artwork, but a different name and obviously description in Colossal Arena. In the new edition, I feel more appropriately has different artwork for the two different referees. By comparison, if you look at I forget what they call these in Colossal Arena, but they're like, and now a new monster has appeared just to throw a wrench into things. Anyway, they're called shapeshifters in the new edition. And in the old edition, for some reason, every single value had different artwork. I mean, I guess is appreciated, but it's not necessary. You don't really need to tell them apart other than their value. They all have the same power, which is nothing. To me, it makes more sense to have different art for the referees than it does to have different art for these shapeshifters or whatever they're called. These cards can be used as randomizers at the beginning of the game to determine which races / golems are going to appear in the game, and you also put them at the top to define their columns. In Equinox, when you use these to randomize, I find it hard to then go and get the matching golem cards that match these cards, because of course these are black and white, and some of the golems look really kind of similar, so you kind of have to look at the power to differentiate them more. Equinox cards are very large, which is nice, certainly, but the game will take a lot of space. It comes with these extra cards which you put to define the rows, so starts with a 5 and then a 4 and so on, which show how much a prediction is worth on that row, so that's kind of handy. And when a race is eliminated, you cover it with a pink puff of smoke to show that it has disappeared. I'm sure it's fine, it's just chilling in another dimension or whatever. You don't do that in Colossal Arena, but it does come with these extra cards that allow you to make clear in this game when a creature has been eliminated. Thanks for watching. Older games like Colossal Arena, Titan the Arena, Grand National Derby, Galaxy the Dark Ages, these don't stop being good, right? Just because new games come out, like Equinox. Take care.